Ken Schott joins us here on Big Board Sports. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning, Roger, and good morning, Zach. How you guys doing?
Good. Appreciate it. Were you surprised what happened on Monday, and did they make the right decision?
I guess how quickly it happened, I guess it was a little surprised, and we started hearing some rumblings maybe mid-season when they were going through that horrific slump that they were going through. But I guess in the long run, it's not a surprise, only because, you lose 28 games, and you lose the second year out of 3 times, you lose over 25 games in the season, and the team never really seemed to get it together until late. They seemed to have a decent run toward the end as they headed to the playoffs, but maybe a change was in order. I mean, you look at the last couple, like 2 of the last 3 years, Seth did not have great teams, and he had admitted that as much when I talked with him on Monday. And Seth seemed to accept his fate. Maybe he wasn't happy with it, but when I talked with him, he seemed very calm and very thankful for the opportunity he had for the 11 seasons he guided RPI.
Yeah, I just look at the whole body of work, and again, I'm not one to sit here and be an expert because I have not attended that many games to tell you exactly what's wrong. But Ken, when you look at the win-loss record and how many trips he's gone to the NCAA tournament and how many times they've won ECAC, I mean that has been lacking, right? And that's in the body of work in 11 seasons. There's certainly enough time to have a better win-loss record to get to the NCAA tournament or to be competitive in the ECAC tournament.
Yeah, they didn't finish first place under Seth. The highest they ever finished was second in 2012-13, and that probably was their best team and had really the best chance of maybe making some noise in the NCAA tournament. But if you remember, they lost to Brown in the quarterfinals that year at home, and they just never really got back to that kind of team, and they only won one home ice series and 5 tries in Seth's years there, and that was last year when they took out Brown in the first round. But they went to one NCAA tournament in 2010, and I think they were fortunate then. 2011, and I think they were fortunate then because they lost the first round series that year, or quarterfinal series that year. So I think the RPI fan base finally got fed up, and I think they probably were staying away. When you look at the attendance, the attendance numbers weren't great. They weren't packing the place like they used to, and I think the fans were finally just had enough, and I think they wanted a change. And I think you remember, Roger, back when Dan Fridgen was let go, how the people were mad at him and on the message board. And I think it's probably a lot worse. And you look, you have to put the factor in the Union, what they've done over the last few years, winning a national championship in 2014, getting the Frozen Four in 2012, winning their 4th Cleary Cup this season, and when it really wasn't expected. So I think there's a lot of people wondering, RPI has the scholarships, the Union doesn't. How is Union winning and RPI is not?
I think that's huge. I think if Union's program was struggling, I think maybe the outcome here is different for Seth. But when you look at all the success that Rick Bennett has had year after year, for the most part, at Union, the national championship and all of that definitely factored in that Union's getting all the publicity, Union's winning, and RPI is not. That had to play a factor. What's the next step, Ken, obviously, to get somebody? Do you think they have a short list, long process here? What do you think? Who do you think will be the next head coach? Do we have any names?
You obviously can speculate. I think they're going to take their time in the process. They started the process. Dr. Lee McElroy said Monday they're starting the process, but they're going to take their time. They're not going to rush into things. If you want to speculate names, I think you can maybe start looking at Ben Barr, the former RPI player and a former assistant coach at Union, who's assistant coach over at UMass, who's been around in college hockey for a while now as a player and a coach. Maybe you look at Joe Dume, the former Union associate head coach, now associate head coach at Quinnipiac. He was a finalist a few years ago for the Princeton job. Maybe you look across the river at the Union and Jason Tapp, the associate head coach there, who's been there for a while. And Rick Bennett's always promoted both Jason and before that Joe Dume. So you maybe start looking at that. One name that I've been thinking about, I think, has also been published. It's probably a long shot. Is former RPI player Adam Oates, who's involved in individual coaching right now with NHL players, pro players, and would he be willing to come back and do that job and get involved in recruiting and all that stuff? I don't know. So like I say, it's really going to be an interesting mix to see who they go after, and what they're looking for.
Ken Schott with us here on Big Board Sports. Ken, thanks for a few minutes on the firing of Seth Appert on Monday, and some names there thrown out that a couple of guys might be the next head coach. We'll see how long it takes and how it plays out. Ken, thanks for a few minutes.
Roger, thank you. And Zach, by the way, congratulations on the job in Denver, and good luck out there.
Thanks a lot, Ken. Appreciate it, man.
Take care.